The Earth is losing its last green spaces. According to the United Nations, 41% of the Earth's surface is desert, and 40% is threatened by desertification. No water, not a single tree, not a place for life. Yet in China, one remarkable man took bold and intelligent action. In just 30 years, he planted over 300 million willow trees, released 4.5 million rabbits, and installed 196,000 solar panels in the shape of a giant horse in the middle of the desert. The project was recognized by the United Nations as a global model for desertification control, a rare honor previously achieved only by Uzbekistan. So, who created this miracle? And how could rabbits possibly save a desert? Let's find out together. Right now, you're looking at the Kubuki Desert, the seventh largest desert in China, stretching over 7,200 square miles, about the size of Massachusetts. Located in northern China, the climate here is unfit for people or plants. Winters are so cold and windy they feel like knives on your skin, with temperatures dropping to -4 degrees Fahrenheit, while summers are scorching, burning the ground. Decades ago, the desert wasn't this vast. It used to be farmland, dotted with villages, rivers, and grasslands. Then, everything changed. The winds got stronger. The grass disappeared. Yes, desertification. Sand started to move, swallowing houses and roads. The few remaining villagers left. In just a few decades, Kubuki expanded more than 25 meters east, burying thousands of acres of farmland under sand dunes up to 200 feet high. By the 1950s and 1960s, the Chinese government launched one of the largest anti-desertification campaigns in history. They built windbreak forests, banned livestock grazing, and dug deep wells in the dusty earth. But nothing worked. The problem wasn't so simple. The desert kept advancing. But China wouldn't be China if they didn't come up with a smart solution. And we're about to find out what that was. One man, Wang Wenbao, known locally as the Desert King, led the way. But don't think he was born rich. Not at all. He was once a poor teacher in Inner Mongolia, biking over 6 miles through sand every day to get to class. Sometimes the wind was so strong his bike would be half buried and sand would get into his lungs. But right at that moment he declared, "If I can't escape the desert, I'll make it pay rent." And he meant it. Starting from nothing, Wang poured all his savings and borrowed money to try what no one else dared. In 1988, with just a small salt company, he began his crazy experiment, spending hundreds of millions of dollars to build windbreaks, plant over 50 million willows, and green 1,400 square miles of barren land. But we'll get to that later. People called him crazy. The authorities called him a dreamer. But he kept going, living among the sand, measuring every bit of moisture. But that wasn't even the wildest part. In a place of only wind and biting cold, Wang Wenbao decided to try something no one else had ever done: bringing rabbits into the desert. Yes, you heard right. Over 4 million Rex rabbits are now living in the arid desert. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Not robots, not high-tech, but these cute little creatures. A furry small animal thought to only thrive in Europe's damp grasslands is now flourishing in this dry land. But these aren't ordinary rabbits. These are French-bred Rex rabbits, known as the white gold of the fur industry. Their fur is as soft as velvet, smooth as otter skin, and lacks guard hairs, so it doesn't need shaving or plucking after tanning. A quality Rex pelt can fetch nearly $30, while raising one costs only about $2. No wonder China now holds over 80% of the world's Rex rabbit fur market. Even more impressive, each female can have 25 litters a year, producing 200 to 300 kits, 25 times faster than normal rabbits, with a survival rate of up to 96%, even in hot, dry climates. They drink little, eat dry grass, and still reproduce normally even in freezing -20 degrees Fahrenheit. These rabbits aren't just released into the wild. They live in closed-loop eco-farms. Their meat is used for food, their fur for clothing, their organs for traditional medicine, and the most valuable thing is their manure. Yes, rabbit manure contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the three nutrients desert sand totally lacks. When it drops to the ground, it turns sand into moist humus, creating the first brown soil in centuries. And here's the miracle. Rex rabbits can't digest grass seeds. This means every time they do their business, they're actually planting seeds with natural fertilizer, which will sprout during the next rainy season. Remember all those willow trees planted earlier? It's no accident they can survive in such dry places. Wang Wenbao understood that for rabbits to live in the desert, he needed something Kubuki never had before: food and shade. And the silent hero was the willow tree. Did you know willows aren't ordinary trees? Their roots can reach over 300 feet deep, almost as tall as a 30-story building, tapping into underground water and holding the sand in place. And then the circle of life began. Young willow shoots became food for the Rex rabbits. The rabbits, in turn, left nutrient-rich manure around the willows. The trees feed the rabbits. The rabbits feed the soil. The soil feeds the trees. A closed ecological loop where nothing goes to waste. Scientists estimate that each acre in the willow rabbit model can produce over 5 tons of organic humus per year, turning sand into farmland in just 3 to 5 years. In just a decade, over 300 million willows have been planted, creating a green wall thousands of miles long, reducing wind speeds by 90% and holding back over 15 million tons of sand each year. But that's not all. Wang Wenbao didn't stop at planting trees or raising rabbits. He turned more than 7,200 square miles of desert into a giant laboratory for ecological economics. Wang Wenbao hired over 100 bulldozers and 300 workers working 18-hour days to flatten sand dunes and build windbreak fences stretching for dozens of miles. In just the first 5 years, more than 1,200 square miles, almost the size of Rhode Island, were turned green. Millions of willows grew, millions of rabbits multiplied, and thousands of families returned to their hometowns once swept away by sandstorms. In just 10 years, the Dalad Banner area had 4.5 million Rex rabbits, generating 560 million yuan, about $76 million, helping more than 10,000 families escape poverty. Each family needed only about $3,000 to $4,000 to start, and could make 4 times that in their first year. When people thought Kubuki had reached the limit of its green miracle, Wang Wenbao amazed the world again. He brought solar energy into the heart of the desert. Yes, right where people once called it the Dead Sea. He built the Junma Solar Power Plant, a massive project with 196,000 solar panels arranged in the shape of a galloping horse. Seen from space, it's not just a power plant, but the largest energy artwork in the world, recognized by the Guinness World Records. Every year, Junma produces 2.3 billion kilowatt-hours of electricity, enough to power over 400,000 people, the population of Miami, Florida. But what makes this project special is that it doesn't just generate electricity. The panels also reduce wind speeds by up to 50%, creating shade for grass to grow underneath, where rabbits, sheep, and geese are released for biological mowing. Thanks to this, the soil is stabilized, sand no longer blows away, and a new ecosystem forms right under the solar panels. By 2022, Junma had saved over 760,000 tons of coal, cutting 1.85 million tons of carbon dioxide, the equivalent of planting over 80 million trees. In just 4 years, the area around the plant turned more than 2,600 acres of Dead Sea into a green energy oasis. From rabbits, willows, and sand, Wang Wenbao created a closed value chain: meat, fur, manure, biogas, tourism, and even solar energy. And the result? From 2010 to 2020 alone, Kubuchi's ecological economy generated over $10 billion, becoming the most profitable green model in Asia. Then, the unthinkable happened. After decades of people battling the sand, nature finally responded. A 2023 report from China's Ministry of Ecology stunned the world. The number of wild deer, desert foxes, and migratory birds in Kubuchi has quadrupled since 1990. Species that had vanished completely now appear again in fields once filled only with sand and bones. Groundwater, the liquid gold of Kubuchi, has risen by an average of 5 to 6.5 feet in just 20 years. That means if you drill a well today, you'll hit water at only half the depth compared to a generation ago. And that's the difference between dead land and living land. Not only have animals returned, but over 100 native plant species, from feathergrass and desert poplars to desert flowers, have come back, creating a scene few would believe. Golden sand mixed with green grass and even small patches of forest sparkling in the sunlight. In fact, the soil here is no longer blown away by the wind. Instead, it's loose and has the earthy smell of life. Now, let's fly over 4,000 miles south to Australia, where this very animal once caused one of the worst ecological disasters in human history. In the mid-19th century, just 24 European rabbits were brought over by a British settler for hunting. Sounds harmless, right? But you can't imagine what happened next. In just 50 years, the rabbit population exploded to over 1 billion. They ate all the grass, destroyed roots, and turned nearly 2/3 of Australia's plains into desert. Each little rabbit could eat as much grass as a lamb. And when hundreds of millions eat together, you can imagine the result. The Australian government tried everything to control them, building fences over 2,000 miles long, almost the width of the United States, releasing the myxomatosis virus, even blowing up and shooting rabbits in mass. But nothing could stop the rabbit wave. So why are rabbits monsters in Australia but saviors in China? The difference is in how people act. In Kubuchi, Rex rabbits are never released into the wild. They're part of a closed-loop ecosystem, strictly managed, eating willows, producing manure, enriching the soil, and generating profit. It's not just about raising rabbits, it's about building a strategic ecosystem. However, behind the impressive numbers and beautiful footage of the green desert, Kubuchi hasn't avoided controversy. Some environmentalists argue the rabbit desert model is only a small part of the massive economic ecosystem of ENN Group, the company Wang Wenbao founded. They claim Chinese media has exaggerated the role of rabbits, while the real success factors are government planning, big investment, and advanced land management technology. Many experts also worry that if this model expands too quickly, it could create new ecological pressures. Rabbit manure, while nutritious, if it accumulates too much, can cause nitrogen pollution, alter soil pH, and affect groundwater. Some pilot areas have even seen green algae appear around natural fertilizer ponds. Yet the United Nations sees something different. In 2011, Kubuchi was recognized by the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification as a global model for desertification control, an honor only a few places in the world have received. By 2019, it officially became a global land restoration demonstration center, internationally recognized as a standard for sustainable development in arid regions. And now, Kubuchi's story doesn't stop at China's borders. It has spread worldwide as a planetary regeneration formula, from Africa's dry lands to the deserts of the Middle East, and now to Europe. In Andalusia, southern Spain, once dazzling under the Mediterranean sun and hailed by the Romans as the granary of the empire, the region is now facing one of the worst climate disasters of the century. Rainfall has dropped by over 40% in just 30 years. Hundreds of rivers and ancient irrigation channels have dried up, and farmland is cracking as if scorched by fire. In many places, people have to drill wells over 600 feet deep just to find a little groundwater. According to the European Union, nearly 75% of Spain's land is now directly threatened by desertification, making the country the driest hotspot in Europe. Yet, in desperation, Spain chose to rise. Learning from the Kubuchi model, the government launched the Andalusia Restoration Plan 2030 with a bold philosophy: not just fighting the desert, but bringing it back to life. They are building the Mediterranean Green Wall, planting millions of olive trees, acacias, and native grasses to keep the soil moist, while developing regenerative agriculture where farmers, soil, and climate are managed as one living system. Solar farm systems are also springing up, modeled after Kubuchi's agro-PV approach, growing crops under solar panels, producing clean electricity, and keeping the soil moist. From a dead land buried under sand, Kubuchi has become a symbol of hope. People haven't just conquered nature, they've learned to live in harmony with it. If a desert in China can come back to life, what's stopping the rest of the world? What do you think? Could this green miracle save our planet? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so we can keep exploring stories that will truly make you say, "Unbelievable!"